Hi and welcome to this week's Fried AI with me, Billy McLaughlin, where I cut through the fuss and get to the facts on all the news from this week in the world of AI and what it means for our industry in the finance sector. I am starting off with a little bit of a bleak warning. We've seen cyber attacks hitting the mainstream media in abundance with M&S, Co-op and even HMRC. I would like to stress that I don't believe this is to do with AI. I've done some digging, I've spoke to the experts, and it seems to be something to do with software being bought on the dark web. However, it does raise questions to how secure your systems are because AI does find it easier to intercept them. The example I'm going to give is that AI can now listen to your keyboard strokes and figure out with a 95% accuracy what your password is. This is called an acoustic side channel attack. So if you do read about it or you hear it in the near future, you know what it's all about. I'm going to give you 3 tips to avoid falling foul to one of these attacks. So make sure you spread this around your team and your clients. Now, number 1 is to make sure that you're not typing passwords near live microphones. This may be a little bit more difficult with wearable AI coming on the scene, but just be aware of it. Number 2, try and use a password manager for storage if possible, rather than having to rekey it every time you need to enter a password. And number 3, we are seeing HMRC bring back multi-factor authentication, so make sure you have MFA set up wherever you possibly can. You know I don't like to talk about the downsides, but I thought I would start with a hard-hitting message on security before we get into the really good stuff. Moving on to some really exciting news. From the world of OpenAI, of course, ChatGPT have launched integrations for their business users. Business users means teams and enterprise, and it does not include the Plus licenses, unfortunately. OpenAI have just announced that they've now got 3 million paying customers, and that's up 1 million in just 4 months. Imagine having a 50% growth in 4 months. So this new integration means that the large language model can now connect with some really great storage solutions that you're already using. Think Google Drive, Dropbox, SharePoint, OneDrive, all of the meaty places where you keep all of your data. If you are a business user, if you just go to settings and connectors, you'll be able to see everything you can connect your large language model to. These connectors mean that you can access your data so much quicker without leaving the GPT interface, which I think as a software provider, that is the goal. You want people to stay on your software for as long as possible. And arguably they can say that it improves productivity because people are not having to leave the system and flick between different software. Side point here, and I don't want to be one of those people, but maybe if you have seen me talk before, you'll understand now why I'm always saying to get your ducks in a row, get your information organised, because these systems are coming. They're going to be able to intercept your current systems. You need to make sure that your data is in a nice, clean, easy to read format so these systems can go in and fetch that data nice and easy for you. You'll already be ahead of the game if your information is neatly organised. There is also a new record mode, which means it can listen in to meetings, and that does also include telephone calls. It can then take those meetings, pop them into transcripts, bring you up action points. Nothing we haven't seen before, but it's great to see it all in one system. Having said that, if you are an accountant, if you are thinking about putting those action points into your CRM system, you want a tool that's tailored just for accountants. Vinyl does still have my heart on that one. It does not stop there. So ChatGPT's new deep research connectors, bear in mind, don't forget, you'll only get 10 deep research requests a month. I'm not sure if this still applies with these new connectors. Means it can now connect to some incredible tools and the web. So you're thinking things like HubSpot to create incredible reports for your business. I would love to give a shout out to Aaron Patrick here, who has already done this. He did this the night it was released. He's ahead of the game. And he connected HubSpot's 88,000 tickets. He's kindly let me share with you that the new connector found a bottleneck in one of their systems that could improve efficiency by 40%. And then it suggested some ways to overcome that bottleneck. I mean, this is not an additional cost. This is all included in the system that you're probably already paying for if you are a business user. If you are a HubSpot user and also a business user of ChatGPT, another great use case could be looking on your HubSpot and saying, show me all the leads over the last 90 days and give me a report, identify trends, for example, industry, niche, did they convert, what was their fee, etc., etc. And those type of reports are going to be super invaluable when it comes to converting clients into actual paying clients. Talking of Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, it only feels right to move over to QBO and their announcement earlier this week. They did a press release all around their GenOS. That stands for Generative Artificial Intelligence Operating System. And I'm not going to lie, it's kind of, you want to see it to believe it at this stage, because QuickBooks did do an announcement in 2023 about GenOS and about how they were incorporating AI. However, that will mean that they should be ahead of the game because they've had years to perfect this. So they're actually building their own custom LLM. So while other companies are looking at integrations and how they can integrate other systems, QuickBooks are doing things a little bit different. I say QuickBooks, it's actually Intuit, I guess, because they've obviously got TurboTax, MailChimp, and everything else alongside it. So they're going to be rolling out agents, and these are going to be able to help in a variety of ways, including customer, payments, finance, project management, and accounting agents to make it easier for the mid-market to be able to deal with their data and essentially do their bookkeeping. In terms of availability, do look out for this. They've said probably November, but a beta will be available in August. So if you are a QuickBooks user, it's a no-brainer really. And from one green product to another, Sage have had a huge event over in Atlanta where the topics were AI, AI, and AI. They want to build AI around trust, transparency, and customer empowerment. And we've already seen that they have released Sage Copilot to 40,000 small businesses and seen a huge boost in productivity already. This is one of those things where your clients are already having AI at their fingertips. So if you've got a client that is using Sage, they will have access to AI. As accountants, you cannot sleep on this because your clients are used to using it. They will expect you to do the same. So over at Sage in Atlanta, they have announced AI in 3 different waves. And I think this tiered approach really makes it digestible for people. So starting with number 1, we've got the task-based artificial intelligence, something that we have seen before. It's things like anomaly detection, invoice classification, and it's focusing on automating some of those tasks. Number 2 is the generative AI. So for those of you that get a little bit mixed up with the language around AI, generative AI is basically the learning model. And the idea here is that it will learn from things that have been done. So we're thinking analysing financial data, generating insights, and helping with that month-end close because it's learnt from what you've done previously. And number 3 is the buzzword of agentic AI. So the idea here is that we're going to have autonomous agents to go in and do some of those tasks for us, be able to detect risks, and also proactively act upon those things that it has found. Now, the timeline for this, Sage have said between 12 and 36 months. Pretty big window if you ask me. I think probably between 12 and 18 months because they will see more competitors coming through into the market and they will feel the need to push forward. And also Sage didn't forget to talk about the future AI strategy and their Sage AI factory where they're building these models specifically for our sector. So not a jack of all trades, they're going to be a master of one and concentrate just on the finance sector, which means personally, when I'm using AI models that are more specific, they are much more accurate and just a pleasure to use. And I'm going to end today on a product that I've just been made aware of called Fineo. Now, they haven't launched yet, so they're not widely available, but let me tell you a little bit about it and why I really wanted to bring it to your attention today. So first of all, they can handle client queries, things like what's my VAT number? Can I expense this? And allow you to then focus on the high value work because it's doing some of the heavy lifting on the lower value work for you. Don't be mistaken, this is not just another chatbot that's got access to your data. They do have instant client support as a feature, but they also offer secure document handling, multi-channel communication, so you can contact your client via email, via chat, via maybe a current workflow system you're already using. They also offer automation on routine queries and document requests to kind of do a bit of the heavy lifting on the admin side there. And they have a smart dashboard to track those communications that you're having so that it can then identify areas that it believes that you can have high value advisory conversations with your client. So it can pick something up and say, you need to follow this up, you need to take this further. You could definitely charge your client for giving them some advice in this area. And the best part that makes it AI and not just AI as a buzzword is that it does offer intelligent learning so that it can start to refine the responses based on conversations you're having with your clients to make it sound more like you. Now, this sounds really scary, but the idea here is that it will respond in a way that you respond, that is tailored and specific to your practice, that makes your practice stand out against the competitors. I was lucky enough to meet Fee last week, one of the co-founders, following her talk at Accountants the previous month. And her and the other co-founder are looking for friendly accountants to have a 15-20 minute chat, give some honest feedback to make sure that they can build this product with accountants rather than just for them. I would like to add at this stage as well, Fee is a qualified accountant. She's worked in practice. I always think that that really helps when delivering a product for our industry. If you do want to have a conversation, I will put a link to their website in the comments or drop me a message and I can make an introduction. That is all from me this week. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Happy Friday, and I'll see you all next week.